Hi, my name is Mark Christensen, and we're sitting here in Engine Room Audio in New York City, and we're talking about the TC System 6000.
So I see you've got the new System 6000 Mark II, the new shiny silver icon up on the console there. It's a fixture in a lot of studios. You see them sitting on a lot of consoles around the world. You know, the big studios, people who really care about sound have the System 6000. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're using the 6000 for here in the engine room?
Well, the System 6000 we're using in this room primarily as a reverb unit. It's a very flexible unit, and there's we've got a lot of the algorithms in there for compression and limiting and that kind of stuff as well. But the thing that really attracted me to it was just the sound of the reverbs. It's funny because I always tell my engineers here to sort of A/B, the reverbs in the System 6000 against any of the other reverbs that they're using, and when people do that, it's pretty much hands down that they're going to end up using the TC. It's just such a much better sounding reverb. You know, I had originally gone to look for some other reverbs when I went to look for reverbs, and the guys at the dealership were on fire about this thing, and they had me sort of do a shootout with the System 6000 versus some of the other reverbs that they had, and this one was hands down the best sounding reverb that I had heard. So we've been using it here for a while. I actually had, in our old facility, I actually had one of the original System 6000s as well. So it's been something I've been using for quite some time.
Currently you're running 4 reverbs on the 4 engines here?
That's right. One of the great things about the System 6000 is that there are 4 discrete stereo engines within the system. I'm able to run a completely discrete reverb on each one of the engines. So and in actual fact, I can do reverbs or delays or even compression if I want to on the other engines simultaneously. You can sort of daisy chain the engines if you want to, or you can run them discretely on 4 separate inputs. So it's very flexible and gives you a lot of options in terms of working with the various elements of your mix.
How do you sort of have it set up right now as far as mixing goes? Do you use one reverb? Do you have a go-to reverb for snare drum or a go-to reverb for guitar? Being a guitarist, how you want guitarists to sound.
I do, actually, yeah. I mean, I typically, one of the great things also, obviously, about the System 6000 is that you can save all of your own sort of presets. There's a lot of presets that are set up in there that you can modify, sort of customize and make your own. And then you can save them both as individual reverbs. You can also save them as setups, so you can have the 4 separate engines saved. If you've got a particular mix, for instance, that comes in real handy. But also I have a couple of sort of user setups that are kind of my default user setups that I'll go to that give me the particular reverbs that I like to use as a place to start. I mean, the stage and hall is a reverb that I've used quite a bit. That's something that I use sort of as a general reverb, for various elements of the mix. I've also got a vocal reverb that I'll use specifically for the lead vocals, which I've got set up in here in the second engine. On this particular mix, I've also got a particular type of stereo delay that I'm using. The control that you have over these individual elements is really kind of amazing. I mean, every one of the engines, the parameters that you've got to work with, I mean, just taking the delay, for instance, I can set different delay times for the left side and the right side of the image if I want to. Obviously you've got your normal things like your output level and your input gains and all those kinds of things. I can also EQ the delays just within the parameters of the particular engine itself. So there's quite a bit of flexibility in the individual engines. Within the library here, I've got user scenes that I can recall, which, as I said before, give me a real good place to start just in terms of getting going on a mix. The great thing about it is that it's got such an intense amount of DSP that is being dedicated specifically to the reverbs. It's got a lot of horsepower from a DSP perspective, and if you are wanting to have reverbs that have a lot of depth and that the imaging is refined and a soundstage that's very wide and deep, that's really what you need is a lot of horsepower on the reverb, DSP horsepower specifically on the reverb. And if you're just using a plug-in or something, you're not really getting that dedicated that dedicated DSP specifically to the reverbs. And that was one of the things about it that was a selling point for me, was just that the imaging is so precise and perfect. You know, if you want to create a mix that's very clear and has a lot of space in it, that's one of the main things. I mean, you know, I also like to mix on a real console. That helps quite a bit. But it's part of the same kind of aesthetic. I mean, even if you are mixing in the box, even when I am mixing in the box, I very often will use the digital inputs for the TC, just because it sort of gets you out of the box in a sense, because there's that dedicated DSP that's just for the reverbs. And I do find that I get a much better sound stage, much more clarity in the mix.